So let me give you some first-hand information coming from Maiduguri, where we understand the federal government have been talking on this one. We also understand some information coming in that those released may have been transported from Dapchi up to Benue State, Maiduguri rather, and the information now coming in that the federal government said a total of 106 abducted persons comprising of 104 Dapchi schoolgirls, one other girl and a boy were freed by insurgents. There's been a press briefing earlier, a few hours ago in Maiduguri. The Minister of Information gave a press conference, and quickly listen to what he said in Maiduguri. What we heard from him was in Abuja earlier, but we understand now they are in Maiduguri. The minister said, and I quote, he said, "It is not true that we paid ransom for the release of the Dapchi girls. Neither was there a prisoner swap to secure their release. What happened was the abduction itself was a breach of the ceasefire talks between the insurgents and the government. Hence, it became a moral burden on the abductors." End of quote. Those are the words of the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, earlier this evening in Maiduguri. So let's quickly run through this timeline for you of how this whole story is developed. The girls were taken from their school on February the 19th, and the parents of the girls confirmed their abduction the next day. That was on the 20th. There was a dramatic twist. Anyways, on the 21st, the Yobe State government announced the rescue of the girls. The parents disputed the claims. The statement was withdrawn with an apology. On the 23rd, the president ordered the deployment of more troops to the community. And on the 27th of February, the military and police trade blame of abduction of the girls. Fast forward to March 20th, Amnesty International said security agencies ignored warning of a possible attack in Dapchi. And today, earlier today, they were returned to their hometown of Dapchi. Let's get talking on this one. I have a panel in our Abuja studio comprising of my guest, Mr. Judy, whom you've seen earlier on the program, and a retired military officer, Colonel Yomi Dare. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the program tonight. And let me begin with you, Colonel Yomi Dare. What is your first impression of how this whole thing transpired, especially the fact that they brought these students and they brought these pupils back into Dapchi? What exactly is going on in your mind when you first heard the information?
Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah, my take on this is that first and foremost, I think this calls for celebration for all Nigerians, irrespective of religious inclination or comments or wrong postulations. We are talking about lives here. You know, these children, whether rightly or wrongly, have been taken away from their parents, from their peers, and right now we have them with us. So I believe that it calls for celebration. And I want to quickly add to that, we must really, as a nation, wake up and change our attitude, because when it comes to issues that threatens our national unity or that affect lives, we need to come together. We need to come together and fight these monsters. I think in this regard, we could take a cue from what has happened, in the recent past, even in Europe, in the US, because once it comes to anything threatening their togetherness, their national identity, they all come together. And I think it's a good way to go. And aside that, right now, a lot has been said. Whether we like it or not, there will continue to be conspiracy theories because nobody was actually at the scene. But I want to believe that because people, I've read some news in the media or some views about how Boko Haram brought back the students. Well, it might, to my mind, it might be part of the negotiation. Because don't forget, negotiation has been ongoing, like it was announced by the federal government. So for me, you wouldn't expect that if it has been part of the negotiation that they should have a safe passage bringing back these girls. I think it would be wrong on the part of our military or on the part of our law enforcement or security agencies to attack the convoy of the Boko Haram. Because if that is done, it might jeopardize the effort. It might even jeopardize the lives of the students in the convoy. Or even, let's not forget that some of the students are still in captivity and it's still a work in progress. I think the government deserves a thumbs up for these efforts so far.
All right. Quickly before we go on that, on a break, Mr. Judilo, what is your take? You are of the civil society, and you've been watching these. Amnesty International has spoken about this yesterday, about how they've been following and what has transpired. What is the understanding of the civil society on this matter, and how it's been received from that sector?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, Sheung. And I mean, first of all, my heart goes out to all the parents and the kids who went through this torture. See, Sharon, we need to get serious here. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. These girls shouldn't have been taken. And because increasingly, again and again, our government fails us. And when they fail in their duty and clean up their mess, they don't get any credit. I'm not going to thank this government for bringing the girls back because they shouldn't have been taken in the first place. You can imagine the horror, the torture that these kids have gone through and the pain that this nation has gone through because of what has happened. And listening to the Amnesty report that, you know, the information was given, this was preventable and it happened, I am very, very disappointed with my government for what has happened. Because you know, you see, yes, the girls are back. Keep in mind that 5 of them are not yet back. So there are 5 families now who are sitting wondering what has happened to their little girls.
All right. So I think it's a very good point to...
It is not yet time for us to rejoice.
Okay.
I mean, I'm glad that some of the girls are back. I'm glad that they're reunited with their families. But the underlying...
Can we take a quick pause, Mr. Ilo, because we need to take on this break. But when we come back, we dig into what may be the conspiracy theories. More importantly is the fact that how can we make sure as a people that this kind of scenario does not play out again? That's next on the program, everyone. Join us again.